Welcome back to the Shankly sessions, folks. This is your match reaction and player ratings. Liverpool 3, Brentford 0. The Reds go second in the table, keep their title race hopes alive. Looking like they're going to have to win nearly every game on the run in to keep this title race alive. But decent performance from the boys today. Sometimes a little bit wasteful with the attempts that they had, but we'll get into the game anyway. Goals from Fabinho on 44. Cross in from Trent. Ajer lets the ball go, and a simple nod in from Fabinho, 1-0 at the break. Safe to say Liverpool were probing all the time in that half, but Brentford with a little glimmer of hope at times. Alisson, unusual. His distribution was slightly off today and a little bit wayward, giving Brentford a little bit of hope in that first half, but not creating a huge amount. Second half, the Reds come out strong as an ox. Pardon the pun, and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain on 69 grabs a goal. Ball in from the left, Andy Robinson, simple ball, Ox in between the two players, heads home, more than what he deserves. He has been working hard. We have been overly critical of him in terms of his return on investment, in terms of his play, but today he grabs the goal, makes it 2-0, and at that stage the game was done and dusted. Then Brentford playing out from the back. Minamino comes on from Ox. Ox shortly after his goal gets injured. Hopefully it's not too bad. We're really going to need him for the next 2 weeks or so until the boys come back. So I think he rolled his ankle or something like that. So hopefully he'll be okay. Fingers crossed. And Minamino comes on. Shortly after that, Brentford trying to play out from the back, make a mistake. Ball falls and Minamino taps in from close range to pick up a goal, his third. Shortly after that, we had what was it? Cade Gordon came on. Well, James Milner came on for Roberto Firmino. They were actually going to make that change first, and they held off on it based on the Ox injury. So then they did make the Firmino change and brought on James Milner. And then shortly after that, on 82 minutes, when it was 3-0, Diogo Jota came off, and on went the boy Cade Gordon. Played a lovely pass through Trent to him as well, and he ran on. He was so unlucky, he could have bagged another goal in front of the Kop. This kid just looks electric at the moment, and I think the more we can put him into games, the better. Just bleed him in there nice and slowly and bring his progress along, and he's going to be a really, really good player for us going forward. But yeah, that was really kind of the summary of the game. It's a little bit wasteful in the first half with opportunities and chances, giving Brentford a glimmer of hope. At 1-0, there's always a chance in the game, and even at 2-0, if Brentford were to get a goal, if we were a little bit shaky at all, we know that nervousness that comes through Anfield at times and can come out onto the pitch to the players as well. But we took our opportunities well. I think we had 27 shots. 13 of them on target, so you would expect maybe a better return than 13. I know the keeper played well. Fernandez played well for Brentford, but you would expect a little bit more return on investment really for that level of attack. And of course, we know we're missing Mane, we're missing Keita, we're missing Salah, so it's not as sharp as we would expect. Jota with a couple of chances today, unlucky not to take them. And Trent with a couple of chances as well, hit the woodwork once, I think, and also had another blaster that just went wide. Very unlucky him not to bag a goal today. But look, we'll take the 3-0. It's a win, keeps our hopes of the title race alive. Anything other than a win today, and we may as well just send the trophy all the way up to Manchester City. It will be done and dusted. Let's get into the player ratings. Let's start off with Alisson. Alisson today, I gave a 7. I mean, he didn't have really a whole lot to do, really. He was on trouble, came out, made a few good claims, but his distribution in the first half could have been a little bit better. It was a little bit wayward at times and a little bit shaky. And the last thing we need is any sort of, anything creeping in there in terms of our goalkeeper, who's normally fairly solid. So give him a 7. Trent got a 7 as well. Kind of a mixed bag in terms of delivery. Some really, really good, some not so good, but always probing all the time, looking more like the Trent that we know. And this was a huge move up from the game against Arsenal. The game against Arsenal was flat, and it was just crap. It was just a poor performance all around. So it was great to see Trent getting in there and looking more like himself again. He's going to be a really big player. And obviously some of these players returning from having CV and stuff like that, it's going to take time for them to kind of recover. We know there's issues there potentially with the long stuff and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully he's okay. And picked up the assist as well for the Fabinho goal. So that's another assist for him, which is always great to see on his stats, but gave him a 7. Unlucky with a couple of chances as well. Obviously, as I said, hit the post, and obviously the one, the rasper that just went wide to left. But a 7 for Trent. Joel Matip gave a 7. Kind of a real hit and miss kind of first half, nothing kind of major there really at all. But normally very, very solid, and I like the way he plays out from the back. There's a confidence and a swagger about him when he takes the ball out, and he's not that wasteful with the ball. Normally slots the ball into really good positions, and not scared to come all the way out to the halfway line and make those sort of mazy runs and stuff like that. So good for Joel. Van Dijk gave a 7 as well. Didn't really have a lot to do. Just an efficient, really, performance from him. He's never wasteful. Always calm in possession, all that kind of stuff. Didn't have a whole lot to do. So a 7 for Van Dijk. Andy Robinson, a 7. Typical Andy Robinson performance. But really sort of operating not quite at 100% at the moment, I would say. I'd say he's getting back there slowly, but not quite at the Robbo that we know yet. But a beautiful ball in nonetheless for the goal from Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. Slipped it right in there between the two defenders for Ox to nod home. So really, really nice. And an assist for him. And it's always nice when both our fullbacks get assists. Fabinho, who was man of the match today, as he always is, but doesn't necessarily always get it. Give him an 8 today, just really, really solid. Gets a goal while the boys are away at the AFCON and stuff like that. But it's nice that his efforts aren't going unnoticed today, and he's getting the recognition that he deserves. And needed a big game as well after the Arsenal game. He was another one who played reasonable against Arsenal, but he can't always influence the game as much as he'd like. Consistent and always impressive in defence and stuff like that. Not very little ever gets by him and stuff like that. And a massive part of the team. And if anyone knows anything now about football, you'll know that holding midfielder is absolutely vital to the success of any team. So brilliant, and he's one of the best in the business, if not the best. Jordan got a 6 today. Poor performance against Arsenal the other night. Came on today, a very, very quiet first half. Lots of overlapping runs and short passes wide and side and stuff like that and all, but just nothing really, but not, like, it's not his worst out. And again, he's another one coming back. It's going to take time, these guys are just going to need time. There's a lot of pressure on them as well, with players missing at the moment, players injured, and players out to CV, plus the main boys are away at the AFCON, stuff like that. A lot of pressure on Jordan as a captain at the moment to deliver, especially through this month of January, at least till we get those boys back. And the thing that we're going to have to do is we're going to have to take it game by game, match by match, and we're going to have to just try and figure out how we map our way through this month till we get our main players back. So reasonable performance by Jordan, but again, I think he still has more to deliver. And I think it's really, really important for him as a captain. He needs to really step up this month. Curtis Jones, I gave a 7. Really, really good. Covered his side of the midfield really well this time, a little bit of creativity for him. He's always looking forward and stuff like that. Not as creative as he can be, but again, after coming back and being out for so long with that eye injury and stuff like that, again, there's a little bit of match rustiness there, and he'll need to bed in a little bit more. We do have a lot of guys returning from injury who are being thrown in at the deep end because of players that are missing. And it's going to take time for them to get back up to that real match fitness kind of thing, that alertness that's in there. But always probing down that left-hand side, always looking up, always looking to move a ball, shift the ball and play something. I'm very unlucky, very, very unlucky with that lob that he had where he nearly got the keeper out for Brentford. But it just goes to show at times just how alert he is, that he can look up, pick it and see it. So really good from Curtis today, a 7. Ox, I don't know what to make of him. You know what I mean? I'm gonna give him. I'll give him a 7 today because he took his goal well. I was going to give him 6, but I'm going to give him a 7. But again, it's just, I just think there is so much more for Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain to offer Liverpool. And I don't know how we unlock it. I'm trying to figure out how it gets unlocked. I think at times he can absolutely look sublime. I think at times he can just look so silly. Took his goal well today, and it was really important that we got that second goal, because that second goal, at 1-0 you're always a little bit nervous. At 2-0 you have a little bit of a cushion, and then obviously the third from Minamino. But with Ox today, like there's endeavour there, and he tries and tries and tries. But I think there can be he could be a bit more creative and a bit more impactful with the energy that he produces. And I'd like to see that Ox back again if possible. Diogo Jota, gave Diogo I gave him a 7 today. I think he was busy, and he was nearly pretty good. He was unlucky as well with a couple of chances when the keeper stood up to him and stuff like that and all. But yeah, I mean, you can't argue with the boy in terms of endeavour, in terms of chasing down, in terms of pressing all the time and just being an absolute nuisance to our back line. And he's just, at times for a defender, he's just so awkward, yet he looks fully in control of what he's doing. But it just, from a distance, it just looks so awkward, and he must be a nightmare for most defenders. Should have had a goal, that 1-on-1, without a shadow of a doubt. Very unlucky keeper making himself nice and big. On another day, he could have bagged 1 or 2. And also he had an effort against the post. But yeah, look, decent enough day from Roberto Firmino was 7. Decent, consistent showing from Bobby. What we need as well. We need Bobby back to his best. You know what I mean? Like that's where we need him. We need him back firing on all cylinders. And this, as much as it's a very difficult time for the club with those type of players being away from the AFCON plus players out, this is the opportunity for these guys to lay down a marker and show what they're made of. Can they carry the team through January till these players return and keep us in a title race? Because we can ill afford to drop any points at this stage. So decent showing from Bobby, give him a 7. Substitutes. Taki Minamino came on, obviously, for Oxen 74, who was unlucky after scoring. Looked like he rolled his ankle. Came on and scored. And got a birthday goal. He's the 5th player from Liverpool to score on his birthday. The last one was Daniel Sturridge. And I think it was back in, if I'm right, it was Daniel Sturridge. I just want to get it. Daniel Sturridge against Man United. Where are we? Daniel Sturridge against Man United in September 2013 was the last guy to do it. So there you go. So great. Happy birthday to Taki, and brilliant from all of us. Yeah, keep it up, and let's keep this good work going. James Milner came on for Bobby on 77. Just came on really in terms of organising and shutting things down and stuff like that. Didn't really give him a rating, didn't really impact on the game, but brought a bit of energy as he does running around that midfield, and got stuck in once he came on, which you'd expect from James Milner. And this is kind of, we spoke about it in the reaction after the Arsenal game. This is kind of going to be his role now. This is where he's at in his career. And it's just an acceptance of that, really. Kay Gordon came on for Jota on 81, had a brilliant chance 1-on-1, very unlucky, keeper saved. But could have really made it 4, and it would have been amazing if he had got that goal. But a very, very special player, going to have a bright future and a big future at Liverpool, no doubt about it. And just keep on rocking, keep on pushing forward, and your time will come. There's no doubt about it. Just ask Harvey Elliott. But this has been your player ratings and match reaction. Liverpool 3, Brentford 0. We roll on to the next round of matches. We're getting closer to the end of the month till the boys come back from the AFCON. So we're just going to knock off these days after days after days. And we're going to keep the ball rolling. We're going to try and keep the title race alive. And it's been a pleasure. If you want to contact the show, you'll get us on Twitter at @SessionShankly. Drop your comments into the episode if you want. Let us know what you thought of the performance or what your player ratings were like. You'll also find us out there, Facebook and Instagram, the upper tier. You'll get audio versions of the show on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music. And also you can contact the show on Gmail, the Upper Tier Podcast. Till next time, keep on rocking, you red men.